One of the more difficult things about doing renovation work is coming up with an idea of how much stuff is going to cost. Of course, the customer always wants to know, and that's reasonable. So you have a demolition plan that shows the existing kitchen, and there was a bearing wall here. All this had to be removed, and the new kitchen layout showed an island underneath this bearing wall. So that's not an easy thing to do. Here is the layout. That's where that wall was. Here's where the island is. So we have to figure out some way to support it with an LV. We use a triple LVL, which is sized to carry the weight. And we removed that center wall. Put this big triple LVL in here to carry the second floor. And fortunately, we found there's a center girder that ran along under here. And so we put temporary walls up and supported the joists and removed that center wall and blocked in between the first floor joists. So here's the temporary walls put up on either side of where that wall originally was. And then we were able to remove that wall once those temporaries were holding up the second floor, and you could see that center girt that runs along the middle, and then we blocked solid in between so we can get solid bearing all the way down to the basement. Luckily, at some point in the last 35 years or so, somebody poured some footings down there and put posts. So we had bearing load points underneath here, so we could transfer the weight of the floor, second floor, and the attic center down through the center of the house. And that wasn't too bad. So one of the reasons that it's extraordinarily difficult to come up with a bid price for something like this is because you just simply don't know what you're going to find. Here's a duct that's not attached to anything, and it's still in service, and it's just blowing heat up into there. So that has to get addressed. And some of these things is just not a big deal, but this wall has cabinets hanging on it, and it's where the sink and the dishwasher are going to go. And of course we had to reframe this window with a smaller window so that the countertop has a place to end. But when we opened this wall up, we found that this wall is out of plumb, 2 inches from top to bottom. So you see these taper pieces we had to put on to make plumb wall. Because if you hang cabinets on that wall, the doors will just open on their own. And not only that, structurally, this one right here was broken. And the whole wall is kicked out at that point. This was framed wrong. There were no continuous studs that ran from the top beam down to the plate that sits on the foundation. So right here where this was framed incorrectly, where there was a window at one point, according to this OSB, 2006 was when that came out. But where it was framed incorrectly at the bottom of that window, the whole wall had compressed and kicked out. And the thing that saved it, I think, are these 4x6s. There's one here, there's one here in the corner, in the center of the building. But all stuff that you just don't know until you open it up. There's no way you can tell. And if you have to bid it, not knowing what you're going to find, then you have to pad the bid. And if you don't find anything, you're still the customer's contractually obligated to pay you what you have on your contract, and that's not fair to them. So, time and materials on renovations.